Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for One Piece Season 4 on Netflix. And this is the Alabasta arc. Yes. See here. Yeah. And this deals with them having to help Princess Vivi save her homeland from one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Crocodile. And I really enjoyed this season. Now, granted, it was like 38 episodes, I believe. Yeah, so, or 39? Somewhere around there. So this was a long, kind of beefy one. There were certain episodes where it's like, alright, this is kind of filler, but we do get the general gist of what's kind of going on in Alabasta. And the thing is, they've suffered severe droughts, and no rain has fallen. We get introduced to this kind of substance that creates rain, this kind of dust that when you burn, because Luffy accidentally even kind of, he tried to eat it, because he got separated from the people when they landed in Alabasta, and he's like, oh, this sucks, and then it starts burning it, and then rain starts falling. But the thing is, it's banned by the world government for a reason. You'd think, oh, then why don't they use that? Because it still has an ecosystem effect. If you use that powder, it pretty much makes rain clouds that wouldn't quite have their rain yet get to that point and then fall down. But the thing is, that could have went further along and went to another place. And we see that kind of falls into Crocodile's whole scheme. He has sand-based powers, and his weakness is moisture. But however, he was pretty much fomenting a civil war in this place to get information on this Pluton island-destroying weapon to take over Alabasta as well, and then become pretty much unto his own kind of force, rivaling the world government. Fuck him and the people following him on that shit. And we see them kind of going throughout, learning more about Alabasta, and also running into Ace, who is Luffy's brother. And we see him, he has fire-based powers from a fire-based devil fruit, and he's a force to be reckoned with, man. And they kind of team up for a little bit, because they're looking for Blackbeard. However, they run into this bounty hunter who's supposedly had defeated Blackbeard, but he really didn't, and that he was doing it to showcase for his kids that they can still dream, because he's trying to be a farmer, and the kids are like, no, just screw it, we can't have our dreams, we just have to do this stuff. And granted, it's a kind of crazy-ass way to go after Ace. How they do, like how he does, the kids were just like, we're fucking hungry, we need fucking food, and of course you have to watch out. Luffy, however, is showcased in the beginning of this to be really, like, granted, I'm open to his character developing and not being this, where he would just eat all the food and drink all the water and be like, now I'm hungry, now I'm thirsty. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's, like, not good shit to do normally. But in the desert, where he's then also eating cactuses and cacti and fucking hallucinating, and then fucking around and screwing over other characters, which, however, did kind of lead them to finding this kind of, like, giant cube thing, which this one character, Ms. All Sunday, Nico Robin, would potentially probably be an important part for her, maybe. But we'll kind of have to see. Because she's kind of in the background until we learn at the end kind of what her whole deal is. But we'll get to that. So they're kind of going around, they're seeing what's going on in Alabasta. Vivi thinks if she gets to the leader of the rebel army, she can talk them down, give them the information, and that it should work out. And normally, yeah, that would work. I'd be like, alright. However, they're trying to go, and the rebel army is pretty much already going after Albarna to go after the king. Now, granted, not at that point, but they're like on the other side of this river as they're trying to figure out where everybody's at, but they're on the other side. Chopper accidentally got taken there by this camel kind of team because he was so hot. And you really feel for Chopper here because he's built for snow. And this is fucking desert shit. He's not having a happy time with this. But They had also encountered Mr. 2, who has, of course, face-changing abilities, and we see that he also has Vivi's father, King Cobra's face, so that does pop in later on. However, they decide to go to pretty much Crocodile, also along the way encountering sand pirates who are just like sailing the sands on the island of Alabasta, and them doing their own kind of stuff. Vivi being called out because this one chick had waited for her to help, and help never came. And it's like, yeah, I get that. Sometimes help comes late. I get that. However, you have to recognize when somebody's trying to do something. She infiltrated a criminal organization, figured out that a warlord of the sea was doing shady shit, and is trying to foment civil rebellion in this place to destroy her country. It takes a while to sometimes get that information. Granted, it took 2 years, and that sucks, but you can't say that she wasn't trying to help or trying to do things. It's like, sometimes it doesn't line up well, and that sucks. Well, they pretty much also go to Yuba and see the leader of the rebel army, Koza. And Luffy gets a nice kind of relationship with him, digging out the water, and he gave him the water from there. They then make their way to the place Rain Base, which is where Crocodile's based, and that's kind of nuts. This is where stuff starts kind of happening and getting kind of interesting. Well, Koza and his rebel army are pretty much pushed to go after Alabarna, the capital of Alabasta, because Mr. 2 changed himself to be the king, said that he was using the rain stuff because he wanted all the rain for the capital city, started injuring some people. This ship got blown in there with weapons, which even if I was one of the rebel army, I'm like, where the fuck did this come from, and what the fuck's going on? We also see that Igaram's alive. But this one kid saw that it was a ruse, tried to escape, but got beat the hell up, and they think it's the royal army that did it, and now that flocks more people to where the rebel army is larger, like 2 million strong, going after Alabarna. We see the Crocodile is monologuing this and just like being a general asshole, locking up Luffy and Smoker, because Luffy's like, if I take out Crocodile, I got this. That's only part of the equation, Luffy. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much called out Vivi, being like, listen, I understand that you were ready to lay down your life for that, but what about us? Why don't you ask us for help? What if we're ready to lay down our lives to help you with this? Now, granted, that's in a little bit kind of more succinct way to kind of put it. Luffy, but had kind of a fight with her, and she apologized, and I understand. She's thinking that she's the only one that can do this and needs to do this, and that she wants to keep the casualties at a complete kind of minimum. But sometimes you have to trust in your friends, and you need the help of your friends, and sometimes that means they're going to get hurt or potentially die on that. And that sucks. Trust me. I align more with how Vivi kind of thinks of, like, I will, because when you see her in this arc, you see that seeing people hurt for like no reason or because of her hurts her more than if somebody stabbed her or hurt her in any kind of unimaginable way. And I get that. That's kind of how I feel on that kind of thing. So I really identified with her on that. Though granted, I more had the balance of kind of Luffy of like, listen, sometimes you have to put yourself in that position, and being the leader of a country, it sucks to send the people that you love into a situation that they might not come back from. But sometimes you gotta fight a motherfucker to stop a motherfucker from doing this shady shit that he be doing. And that's what they gotta do with Crocodile. Though Luffy and them get captured in the base, we see that Crocodile pretty much killed, well, you would think killed Mr. 3, but it's funny because he's had him locked in this cage that can negate devil fruit powers, which was interesting to learn. Though it was also interesting to learn in this arc that evidently inanimate objects can eat devil fruit and gain powers, which was really fucking weird. And I'm just like, that came out of fucking nowhere, but let's see where this goes. Because we see a fucking dog cannon that shoots baseballs. Trust me, it sounds weird, crazy as fucking shit, but It works enough. I was just more like, you fed a cannon of fruit? How the fuck does that work? Like, I needed to see that. Like, not exactly Family Guy cutaway gag style, but just like, I hope you see that, because that's fucking nuts. But their escaping from Crocodile's base was nuts and crazy, as we see that like Sanji was able to work and coordinate with Chopper to get Crocodile out of there, beat the shit up out of all these kind of like banana gators, and find Mr. 3. He unlocks it. Crocodile's like, nah, they can't get out. I gave them a fake key. It's not gonna work. It's like, yeah, maybe you should have watched out to make sure that a dude with like wax fruit powers isn't in play. Though, granted, people supposedly dying and coming back happens a lot, and even though that's like a staple in these kind of shows, I don't mind it. Like, when it's executed well enough, I'm like, fine, that's cool. Gets a little plot demandsy, but it depends upon how it works on the narrative. If it's like, that's fucking stupid, you're just like, alright. But if it gets in the way of like the other things, or the message, the themes, the action, the characters, then I start to have big problems with it. So they try and figure out how to go and stop the rebel army. So they find this like giant crab thing, and they're trying to book it. But then we get the pretty much first fight with Luffy, which does not go well for him. I do like that Luffy does challenge one of the warlords of the Seven Seas, but that he has to fucking crack his way out of this shit to actually defeat him. Like, it was a hard fought and won victory. It wasn't easy, like he just, hey, because being a warlord of the Seven Seas is a big kind of deal here, and just having him get knocked out on the first round would just have been anticlimactic unless it was working into his plan. But we see that Luffy tries to go at him, but of course all he's doing is punching. But this helps to show that Luffy actively starts to learn. Now, Ace is already gone at this point, so he's not going to be of help because he didn't get any information from the bounty hunter dude who had lied about Blackbeard, so he went off to go search for Blackbeard himself. So if you're thinking, hey, Fire Punch guy would pretty much work out on this, you're right. But Luffy did find out that moisture affected him because he was able to grab Crocodile's arm before Crocodile stabbed him through and threw him down into pretty much quicksand. And then one of the kind of guards of the king, Pell, had flown to Rain Base, sees him, helps him out, and Luffy's like, I need meat. And evidently that helps him heal a lot. And he gets water, and he flies over to Alabama as we see all these rest of these things going on as the group splintered up to try and get in front of the rebel army. However, it didn't work, and the rebel army is attacking Alabama. The forces are clashing. We see that Baroque Works have agents within to keep the fighting going. We have more of the numbered agents involved. We see that Chopper and Usopp, well, Usopp kind of got fucked up a little bit by Mr. 2, but he then books out and helps Chopper fight Mr. 4 and it's Christmas time? Mole Woman, or sometimes Penguin Woman, because Usopp sees some fucked up penguins to call her a Penguin Woman. What the fuck? That was a kind of nutty one. I was more interested in Chopper's abilities to go through with the Rumble Ball and everything with that. This was interesting because it at least gave the crew their own kind of fighting things to have them get up to the next level, because this was a big thing because Luffy pretty much goes up to the next level with his kind of stuff as well, keeping them at least viable in check. You always need to watch out and make sure that you're able to throw enough kind of cool challenges to the rest of the group as well. Though granted, this was a little bit hit or miss on certain kind of ones. Nami's was but at least she got some kind of climate kind of thing fighting Miss Doublefinger. I liked Zoro's as he fought that dude and was able to get into a space where he could cut steel, where he still does not understand the meanings of the words of his master telling him about people who can cut through anything or cut nothing, and everything that kind of goes with that. Sanji versus Mr. 2, that one was a pretty good one, seeing them do their kick styles and everything, and Sanji having to deal with his weakness of women and everything. And Vivi just being trying to figure out what's going on. She gets pretty much to the palace, tries to pretty much talk them into blowing up the palace. However, Crocodile and Ms. All Sunday pop there. They have her father pretty much there, and that's of course where they start bringing up wanting the island destroying device, and he's kind of holding off, but Crocodile then tries to kill Vivi, but Luffy pops in, and we get Water Luffy. He's got a giant barrel on his back, and seeing him like really start laying into Crocodile was really good. However, Crocodile still gets the upper hand and drains him of water. But Luffy had shot out Bubbles, and then he gets rehydrated and goes to fight after him. We do see that Tashigi, the Sergeant Major for Smoker, has come there and is trying to figure out what her reign of justice is. Go after Crocodile or go after Straw Hats. Smoker has left to be like, shit, one of the warlords is essentially trying to do a coup and take over a fucking island. That ain't gonna fly. Even though he was like, in the beginning, pretty much talked of as a hero of the island because of the pirates he would fight. That was just a facade. So we see that she still is unable to get everything stopped. Koza tried to stop, but Baroque Works people shot his ass and fighting kept continuing. It's like battle madness. I just felt for Vivi as she's trying to shout and have herself heard. And but we see Crocodile and Ms. All Sunday pretty much going towards... Well, Ms. All Sunday leaves with Cobra first and goes to the place, is reading the poneglyph, which would have the information for the device. And she's like... Then Crocodile is able to get there after he has dealt with Luffy, even though Luffy pops back up. They had, Nico Robin had also dealt with Tashigi and pretty much was able to handle her easily. And the thing is, Luffy then pops up and asks where Crocodile went. She points him in the direction, even though she hates herself for doing it. Let's see. And then the people are trying to find, because Crocodile told Vivi that there's a bomb that's going to go off at 4:30, and they're trying to find where everything is. But they do find it. Vivi is able to stop it, but the bomb is set on a timer, and the Falcon dude, Pell, decides to take the bomb and flies up in the air, and she's just fucking losing it because she's losing everybody. Everybody's fighting. People are dying, and I get it. You just feel for her. Like, they just keep layering and all of that. God, no! It's... and then you even see Nami being like, God damn it, we gotta fucking help her stop these people. God damn it. Like, even though money is a big thing for her, seeing somebody hurt like that, affect her like that, that was a big thing with Nami. So, we've got all that nutty shit going on. We are introduced, well, with Ms. All Sunday, we get introduced to her name, Nico Robin. We find out that she's been wanted since she was 8, like 20 years ago, and that we learned that more off in the end of this season that she's an archaeologist. She wants to learn the actual truth of the world and is using those poneglyphs to go for it. And even King Cobra's like, that's interesting. Because she tells Crocodile that there's nothing involved with this, but then he's like, fuck you. He stabs her through to kill her because he knew that she'd probably betray him. And then she's pretty much just left to die before we get the epic kind of climax battle of Luffy and Crocodile, where he is utilizing his blood to pretty much provide the moisture, and then even Crocodile goes off to try and poison him and succeeds, but Luffy just beats the fucking shit out of him so much that he blasts through the fucking roof of the underground cavern they're in, even though King Cobra had pretty much instituted a collapsing protocol to pretty much bury them under, even though that really wouldn't work with Crocodile. And the thing is, Nico tosses King Cobra this vial of antidote, uses it on Luffy, and she's just kind of ready to die because she's failed and she doesn't see a kind of point of living. And I'm like, damn, I feel for her on that. And then Luffy's like, nope. And he's like, listen, I'm taking you up there. After what you do after that, it's your own business. And that leads to her joining the crew later, being like, yeah, now you gotta take responsibility. Now I'm joining your crew. And he's like, alright, cool. Which is Luffy's style, and actually, I get that. He gives people chances, and if he's betrayed, he takes that very seriously. Now, granted, he still needs to kind of learn to handle certain things better, but it's kind of cool as they then kind of get out. The Straw Hats are beat to fucking shit and just left there, and even Tashigi's like, damn it. She leaves them there, and brings Crocodile and everything, and Crocodile's saying, like, the only form of justice you can have in this world is what you can take, and she doesn't think that she's strong enough for that, and that really affects her. Smoker's like, then get strong enough to it. It's like, alright, Smoker. And then we get introduced to this Hina chick who's able to, like, she's one of the Marines who can, like, capture people with, like, she was kind of plopped in at the end, so we'll kind of have to see if they dive into her more or explain her powers more. I'm like, what the fuck? But she's evidently a big kind of bruiser. Full body and the hypnotist kind of dude. Full body? The one dude that Sanji fucked with at the restaurant, and then the hypnotist dude from Usopp's Island are part of her crew for some reason. God help her on that. But we see that Alabasta helps the Straw Hats. They heal. They have a grand dinner and everything. They invite Vivi to come along with them. But they gotta leave now because they gotta get out of town before the Marines and everything, because Luffy's been upgraded to a 100 million berry bounty. Zoro is upgraded pretty heftily as well. Does it tell me? 60 million for Zoro, yeah. But they see that Bon Clay, Mr. 2, has taken the ship, but he got it out of, like, the Marines kind of way, and they kind of come to an accord, even though they're like, you fuck. Luffy's, like, first ready to, like, bounce his ass, but then he's like, oh, okay, you helped our ship, so they kind of set out, they link up with Bon Clay's other ship, and the Going Merry got kind of fucked up and almost kind of captured, but they do get to a point that they could get an escape route, but they're like, listen, we got to make a kind of thing out of here, because they still offered to pick up Vivi as they were leaving. However, she makes it there but says that she has to do her duty, and it's really sad for her, because she's like, I want to join with you, I thank you for your adventure, will you still call me friend? But the thing is, they can't say anything, but they just do, because they had their kind of marks to prove that they were who they were, and they raised those in a sign of friendship with her, and that was really cool. It's like, yeah, she's a Straw Hat. She might just have to do stuff that is part of her duty and part of what she needs to rule the kingdom, but she's still one of them, and then they book off, and of course Nico Robin is introduced and put in part of the crew, and we get set up for the next kind of adventure, and it's like, right, let's see where this goes. So I really like this because it showed how Luffy thinks and tries to help his friends, even though it's kind of more simplistic, with like, if I take out Crocodile, this whole thing works out. It's like, alright, he's definitely in a big important part, being the head of the operation, and then seeing the rest of the crew work this out. This wasn't just one person doing one thing. It was at least wrangling in enough of them at the end, though it did feel like there's like, shit, what are we going to do with these other characters? And then just kind of like tied them in as much to make sure that when Luffy defeats Crocodile, that they're not left that far behind. So I wish it was done a little bit better, but overall I still enjoyed this. I liked seeing the characters grow and learn more about themselves and try and be better. Usopp still being more of a kind of comic relief, but still understanding what he needs to kind of do and being beat to fucking shit. Even though him and Chopper won that fight, he was fucked up. So I really enjoyed this, and seeing Vivi, this was mainly Vivi's story because of it's her home, and she's the princess, and she has to protect her people and everything. Seeing Koza make it, seeing Pell actually make it as well was very nice as well. He's like, oh, this is my grave. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they like come back to them and rope them in on what's kind of going on in Luffy's adventure toward the One Piece and to become king of the pirates, and to see everybody else's dreams come true as well, or how they come true. Because sometimes you get a dream, you have a dream, but you don't know exactly how to get there or what it will actually really entail, and it'll be completely different than what you think it is. So I just love the Straw Hats. I really liked seeing how this worked out. And it was a fucking terrifying story of seeing this asshole act like a hero and just plunge fucking island into civil war just because he could do it and because he wanted to grab the whole shit. It's like, that just really hit close to home. It's like, you fucking asshole. Fuck you. Oh, it's always those kind of stories of it's like, wow, you'd think it would be that far-fetched, but it's like, wow, it would be easy to manipulate people if you were able to pull it off like you have, like he did in this. It's like, damn. So I can't wait to see what the other warlords are like, how they'll interact, because some of them can be good, some of them could be like Crocodile, and how Luffy and the Straw Hats will kind of deal with that, and how the world government will deal with their growing kind of legend and what's going to occur for them. So yep, I'm still liking this journey, would still recommend this, because even though there are certain parts that I think could have been cut or condensed, it was still enjoyable to see everything going on. The action worked very well. It also informed character, which that needs to happen. You can have action for the sake of action, but when you've got action informing what's going on with characters, like who they are and how they operate, that's the best kind of synergy and the best kind of storytelling there. So I can't wait to see what continues on in One Piece. So those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.